Well, joining us now in the studio is Amin Al-Himyari, a professor at Qatar University. Thank you very much for being with us. Certainly, the visual impact was huge. I mean, you could almost barely recognize him at the beginning. But when it comes to substance, he didn't really say anything that I guess his detractors would have wanted him to say. I mean, certainly no resignation and not really anything that we haven't heard before.
Yeah. I think you can easily recognize that this is the president, but I mean, unexpected. I mean, that he has, suffered from a lot of burns. But the situation now, I think he's not healthy enough to do the job or to perform his responsibilities. I think it's time now for the international community to put pressure on him to resign or to transfer the power. Now he is still talking about dialogue, still talking about sharing the power. I mean, this has been his strategy for about 30 years.
The speech was recorded in Riyadh. He's been in Saudi Arabia since the attack, recovering from his wounds as well. How much actual power does he still have in Yemen, do you think?
I think his son is still in power, his nephews, because they are still, leading a lot of military brigades. I mean, quite a lot. I mean, a big portion of military is still in their hands, plus the security forces, some tribes, some supporters, because they keep misleading the people with this, propaganda, with convincing them that Saleh is still strong, Saleh is still in power, Saleh is coming back. Because now if all Yemenis are certain that the president is not coming back, they will definitely, support the revolution, because they have been oppressed for 33 years, and some of them are still afraid, and some of them are, gaining interest from the corruption.
Well, we were mentioning a little bit earlier just how much he's changed since the accident. I think now we can see on our screens just a picture of the president, Saleh, what we just saw in the video message, and also how he was before the accident in June. You mentioned a little bit earlier the pressure that perhaps the US could put on him, that Saudi Arabia. What pressure do you think they are putting on him? Because he's not a man that looks like he's going to be giving up his seat as president willingly.
Yeah, this is in fact, amazing, unbelievable. A person in this situation, he should have, think about the 24 million people. They have been suffering for months. Now they need the basic needs, and now he is still not thinking of resigning.
One of the but he often always had the support of the US, of Saudi, because he always said he would be fighting Al-Qaeda in Yemen. Do you think that now Saudi and the US are kind of saying, your position is now untenable? Do you think they are putting pressure on him to resign and maybe hand over power officially to the vice president?
I think the pressure is still not enough. Maybe they have said, some words to him, but they are not really putting a real pressure on him. If there is a real pressure, he will step down. I think now the interest of Americans and Saudis is to support the protesters, the revolution. It's peaceful, and they can guarantee that the Yemeni will be secure, Yemeni will be peaceful to all, to the international community. But supporting the regime and the corrupt regime, and they know that this is a corrupt regime. It's going to create a lot of problems to the
what a country
country
like the US and other Western allies would fear most in Yemen is instability, is what they would see as a resurgence of Al-Qaeda there. How can anyone guarantee that after the regime there would be some semblance of stability in Yemen? Is that just a chance that the US and countries like that would have to take?
No, if they support the forming of transition council, they can restructure the military, and they can guarantee that the military is in the hand of independent people that can fight Al-Qaeda and can secure the whole country. And then they leave the rest for civilians to choose their own government. Okay, if they can support the restructuring of the military and give it to someone who is independent, not from the opposition, not from this regime, and then they can secure the whole country, and then they leave the rest to people to elect their government.
Certainly a lot to be done in Yemen. Amin Al-Himyari from Qatar University, thank you very much for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take a quick look now at the events, of course, leading up to the Yemeni president's TV appearance. Demonstrations in Yemen began back in January. They were brutally repressed by forces loyal to the president. On June 3rd, Saleh was wounded by an attack on the presidential palace. He suffered burns to 40% of his body. The following night, he arrived in Saudi Arabia, where he's been a guest of the Saudi royal family and where he is still now.